Christians and Jews. Christians and Jews. Which does he like better? Jews. Likes Jews, right? Because, and what does he also find out about economics? The places where they believe in all the same thing, they're richer. Right? Because they don't have religious conflict. And the religious conflicts don't lead to, the non-religious conflicts don't lead to religious war. And therefore the prophet comes back when he's 27 years old with only basically one idea, right? Only one idea. And that is, we're now going to believe in one God. One God. And we're all going to believe the same thing. And he has another question. He says, how come God sent Moses to the Jews and Jesus to the Christians? What's with us? Why are we such lepers? You know? No, how come no prophet for us? God didn't like us? You know? So he says, you know, it's a hard question. What's the answer to the question?
I'm going to be the problem.
He doesn't know that yet. But he's curious. It catches his attention. And in the mountainside near Saudi Arabia, there are lots of caves, right? So he goes into one of the caves, and when he goes into one of the caves, he meditates, right? Basically, he meditates. Maybe a little yoga. We don't know. But that's not in the Quran. But this is in the Quran. All of a sudden, he feels the arms around him, you know, and the arms are pulling, right? And the arms are saying to him the Arabic word "kra, kra." What does "kra" mean? Who knows Hebrew?
Bow
down.
It could mean listen, right? But then the shema? No, the crow is no, ayin.
So stand in.
It means no, not bow down. It means read, you know, to read, read, and or maybe even I'm going to use a little fancy word, recite. Very few rules, right? And in some ways, that's because the ultimate goal was not, you know, the strongly regimented behavior that Jews have, but one God, one world, one people, one language, right? So if you're going to unite the whole world together under the banner of Allah, then you can't have quite as much structure, even though Sharia law. Nabiya, what's the word in Hebrew? Nabi, right? Nabi, right? He is the Nabiya Ummi. In fact, he's sometimes called, I think you'll know this word as well, Hatan and Nabiya. Hatan from Khatima. What does Khatima mean? It means signature, but also means a seal, like a stamp, like a seal. A stamp also, like Gemar Khatima Tova. You know, you say it at the end of Yom Kippur. You know, you should be sealed in the book of life. He's the seal of the prophets. Khadi. Why did they call it Medina? But what does Medina mean? City, right? In what language? Arabic. And also in Hebrew, right? Yeah. And what is America? What do we call it? The Golden Medina, right? He's going to go to Medina. Why did they call Yathrib Medina? Because who lived in Medina? Jews, right? Medina was about half Jewish at the time. It was run by 3 big Jewish tribes. The Jewish community. And what's he saying to the Jewish community? I'm a prophet, but you know what does he fundamentally believe in?
One God.
One God. Yeah. He even has a bigger phrase for it. One God. This is the phrase. You have to remember a phrase of Islam. This would be a good one. One God, one world, one people, one language. One God, one world, one people, one language. In other words, what view is this? This is a utopian view, right? They're all bad, right? America is an anti-utopian society, anti-utopian. But Islam starts off, one God, one world, one people, one language, is in fact a utopian view. But unlike communism and Nazism or even Baha'i, it's now 1,400 years old, right? People are not coerced to be Muslims in the world. In fact, quite the opposite. They love being Muslims, right? You see in the Egyptian elections, they're very committed to being Muslims. Good? Everybody ready? One God and one people, right? Because if you have 2 religions, what will happen? What will happen for sure? There'll be fight, there'll be war, and it will destroy your economy, right? So he comes and he meets all these Jews, and what does he think about the Jews? Smart. And by the way, also beautiful. I love Jews. I'm a Jewish boy myself. But when he goes and he sees them, he says he has three choices basically. Really only two. We could live together, right? The new Muslims and the Jews. Could he believe in that really?
No.
No, because he says one God, one people, one world, one people, one language. So he can't really believe in that one, right? So then he has two other choices, right? Either I'll join you, or you join us. So what do you need to start a religion, right? He's just at that moment right now. This is the year 622. 622 is called the Hijra, right? The fleeing from Mecca to Medina is called the Hijra, right? And he says, listen, what do you need to make a religion? What do you need to make a religion? Let's try and answer the question.
A book.
You need a book, right? He has a book in the making, but not enough, right? What else do you need? Tchotchkes, right? They sell other people's tchotchkes, but what do he doesn't have tchotchkes, right? A temple, real estate.
Money.
No, money. Schlepper, no money. What?
Way to pray.
A way to pray. No, doesn't really know. He only knows the direction to pray. What direction is he going to pray in? North, actually. What's he going to pray towards? It's called the Qibla. The Qibla, Jerusalem. Jerusalem. Not forever, but in the beginning of Islam, Jerusalem, right? Why Jerusalem? Jerusalem is going to be the Garden of Eden. What does he have? Almost nothing. Buckets, really nothing. He has buckets. So what does he say to the Jews? And who does he speak to the Jews? I figure he speaks to the equivalent of the JCRC of the 7th century Medina. The Jewish Community Relations Council. That's right. And they are going to make a big decision. They don't know how big, right? But they are going to make a very big decision, and they're going to make it in a very short time. We're going to try and do this in real time. We don't exactly know what happened, right? We know the result of what happened. We don't know exactly what happened, right? We know that the Prophet, Muhammad, wants to join the Jews, and he's willing to do a lot of things. So shall we say what he's willing to do? Yeah? Okay. What's the first one we always mention?
Brit Milah.
Brit Milah. Hello, Prophet. Here's the first thing you have to do. Remove your foreskin. What do most people say to that?
No way.
Christians, we're coming. I don't know. It's not, you and I, that's the first thing to think about, right? It's not a particularly welcoming moment, We'd like you to remove your foreskin. Really, it's foreskin. It's, Brit Milah, right? But what does he say?
Okay.
We'll do it.
Yeah.
We'll do it. It's kind of surprising, right? And do Muslims get circumcised?
Yes.
Yes. And when do they get circumcised?
What age?
Mostly at 8. Mostly at 8, yeah. Mostly 8 years old. You say 13 because Ishmael was circumcised at 13, and so there are some sects of Islam, but not many, that circumcised at 13, but almost everybody's 7 or 8 years old. I'm in Turkey, I was in Turkey and a number of times, but and when you walk down the streets of a Turkish city, you see some of the 8-year-olds, they look like they're prince or king for the day, right? They have a little scepter, they have a little crown, they have like a little robe, people give them candy, they're extremely happy. Then you see them the day after. They look like they are in shock, and sometimes they're in a bed out there, I was having such a good time, and then this, so it's not like their kosher. It's also like it's like our kosher, right? In other words, what do?
Separate.
No.
They not separate meat and dairy so much, but
They slaughter the same way.
they slaughter the same way. And what do they do with the blood?
Drain it.
They drain all the blood. And what do they do with the meat after the blood? They salt it. They salt it, right? And they salt it even more than us in some ways, right? It's called najasa. Najasa. We say that blood is batul b'shisha because if it's under a certain amount, it's still kosher because of mercy. Is mercy on the? Having a little kid and then not only killing the mother, but then boiling the kid in the mother's milk, and then chicken's less clear. But all these things. But they understood it at that time as kashrut was mixing symbols of life and death, right? That milk would bring you life, right? It was nurturing. It was at that time as kashrut was mixing symbols of life and death, right? That milk would bring you life, right? It was nurturing. It was what your first food is milk, and meat is death, shchita, right? You have to kill. You have to slaughter to do it. So that they understood, whether it's the only explanation of kashrut or not is, I'm not claiming that. I'm just saying how the Muslims in the 7th post-Christian century understood kashrut. They understood it as separating between life and death, right? Eating meat is death, and drinking milk and eating things with milk parts is life, and that they didn't want to mix the symbols. In the desert, they found it impossible to get people to do it because life. There's a saying of the prophet, because life and death are so close in the desert that they're impossible to take apart. It's a pretty significant remark, right? And just really put it in more as thousands, 3,500 years ago, and Jesus 2,000 years ago. You can't. It's too long ago. But 1,400 years ago, it's already well-established history, right? There are lots of things going on. What you really have in Islam is very few rules, right? And in some ways, that's because the ultimate goal was not, the strongly regimented behavior that Jews have, but one God, one world, one people, one language.